Hi, welcome back to the podcast with myself, Joseph Clough. There's all geared for your excellence, for you to be able to achieve all the type of results that you want in your health, your relationships, and your career, and even your finances. So in other words, every area of your life, I'm here to help you. That's really what I'm about. I sell CDs and hypnosis MP3s on my website, josephclough.com. So feel free to take a look at those. But this podcast is really about excelling your personal growth to a whole new level where there's no investment. And there's really a collection of my thoughts and my personal truth, really, of how I've changed my life. Now, I don't know how much you know about me. Some may know quite a lot, because I do talk about it sometimes. But ultimately, I used to be a very unconfident guy. I used to blush all the time. I used to be very self-conscious. But through these type of technologies and the type of mindsets and wisdom that I give to you in my hypnosis tracks, it's really about how I see the world and how I perceive it, and the type of changes that I've made and the type of techniques that I've used and created to help people on like a one-to-one session, from my trainings, my seminars, and once again, it's all for free. So I really hope that you're enjoying them. I'm getting great reviews from them, which I'm really, really thankful for. So I know that it must be doing something good along the way there. So I'm really pleased to do that for you. Now today, I wanted to give you a quick tip really about retraining how your mind works. And it's very, very simple, and also it's something that I do every day, every time I wake up or just before I go to sleep. Now there's ultimately a rehearsal. It's a rehearsal of how your mind can produce a type of result. So ultimately, we're going to mentally go on a journey of how your day is going to be, whether it be tomorrow or whether it be when you wake up in the morning. And you're ultimately going to go through all the things you would be doing, but exactly how you want them to be. So whether it be in your job, whether it be on a date, whether it be in a work situation, whether it be in a relationship, or even your health as well, actually giving your body the signals it needs and the direction it needs to produce the type of desired results that you want. Now there's something that we do with consistency. Now, the reason why this works, why does mental rehearsal really work to make changes in your life? Well, quite simply it's this. Your mind cannot tell the difference between what is imagined and what is true. Now, what that means is that if you were to see, for example, whatever you're seeing right now, wherever you are, and then close your eyes and imagine the exact same scenario, the exact same situation and environment that you're in, your brain cannot distinguish between what is real and what is not. Now, you may think that's a little bit weird because it is only your imagination. It's only your thoughts and the images you're creating inside. But I've done lots of studies on this where they've hooked up sensitive biofeedback machines on athletes and even people doing studies where they've got them to imagine the scenario they're going through. Let's say, for example, there was a sport athlete going through their race that are maybe like 100 meters, and they're running that race in their mind. And it's actually sending and firing off the exact same signals, and even on a muscular level, in a much smaller fashion, obviously, the exact same as what it would be doing in real life. Now, that is really good news for us. There's really great news for people who want to make changes in their life, because it means the more you imagine your life the way that you want it to be, your brain will think that it's true and therefore find more answers that you need. And it's like all things, where, say, for example, you learn a word for the very first time, you get to see it everywhere. It's like your brain's looking out for that new word, or if you see a car that you want and you make a decision you want it, you begin to see it everywhere. So we're ultimately saying where your thoughts are going, your body is going as well. And also it can lead you and look out for certain scenarios or look out for certain opportunities for you. And as I always say, the way the mind really works is that we usually think of all the things we don't want in life. We focus on the bad debt, or becoming more in debt, or the bad relationships, or the unhealthy body. We get trapped in that mindset of how we are right now, our present situation. So if we have a bad health situation, we're thinking those thoughts of poor health. If we are thinking predominantly about negative relationships we've had in the past, our brain begins to search for things which are similar to that. So therefore, it's actually looking out for those type of situations or even people in your life. If we've suffered with anxiety in the past, if you think of what anxiety is, it's ultimately an illusion that you're making scenarios in your mind of all the things you don't want to happen. Now, we know that the power of this because we become anxious. Our body feels anxious by just making that image in our mind. It's very much if you could imagine this. You're watching, say, a movie, and sometimes you can lose yourself in that movie, and you're a part of that movie. You feel the emotion of what the character is going through. Or if there's a shock in the movie, it makes you jolt back because your body feels like it's a real experience that it's going through. So we're really saying wherever you're going in your mind, you're actually going there in the body and in your reality. So that is really why it's so important. I was talking to a good friend of mine called Dr. David Hamilton, who's a Hay House author, and he's wrote loads of really cool books. I'm going to do an interview with him very, very soon on the podcast. He doesn't know this yet, but it will happen. And he's going to give you a lot of advice about this. But one of his stories he was telling me just the weekend gone was where they were doing a study about the impact of people pressing a button. They just keep on pressing the same button over and over again for like an hour a day for the next 30 days. And obviously they began to measure the difference in muscle growth. So the person was pressing the button, and I think they actually did it with like piano keys as well, going dun 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 dun. I know I sound ridiculous there. I'm saying that out loud. But they did that every day for 30 days or so for an hour at a time each sitting. And they were measuring the growth of the muscle by doing that same habit. Then they got some people just to imagine they were pressing that button or doing the piano keys in their mind, the da-da-da-da-da, 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 and just imagining those, so not actually using the finger at all. Now, the really crazy thing about this, the people who hallucinated it and just visualized it in their mind, there was a huge difference in muscle growth. Although they weren't actually doing it with their fingers, there was still a significant difference in muscle growth. Not as strong as the finger actually pressing it, but there was still a significant growth, which was, I don't know, at the top of the mind, it was, I think I'm just trying to think what David said, is around 30 to 50% or so growth, where the people doing in reality had like a 70%, 80% in growth. So it really showed that just by visualizing it, began to change how their body structure was, which is crazy, isn't it? And it, once again, it is fantastic news for us, because it means the thoughts that we have in our mind, it's no longer just in the mind anymore, by the way. And it's the same as David was saying, it's no longer, when people say, oh, it's just in your mind, it's not just in your mind. It's when you have those thoughts, your body is actually producing a chemical reaction and changing your body. And also that means if you're changing your mind, you're changing your body, you're going to be changing the results that you get. Whether it be in a positive way of focusing on being more abundant or having the healthy relationships or the most amazing career or finances, or even in a negative way, the scarcity of debt, the scarcity of relationships, or the damage or the unhealthy body. So whatever you're doing, now we've got to be conscious of our thoughts. Now, there's one tip I want to be able to talk to you about, because when you go to sleep at night, there's what I like you to do. And you can do this when you go to sleep at night or as soon as you wake up. I want you to imagine and hallucinate in your mind, wherever you see it, hear it, or feel it, or maybe all of them. Whatever happens, I want you to hallucinate it to the most powerful you can do of how you'd like your day to be. So that means as you begin to go to sleep, you just put 5 minutes aside and you imagine what your day is going to be like tomorrow. So you go through step by step the whole 24 hours of how you'd like it to go. Now you may think, well, you don't know how it's going to do, but don't worry about that. The question you ask yourself is this: if my day was going to go like this, how would I like it to be? If I was the director of my day, how would it be? That means we're directing our thoughts and our body to the type of results that we want. And then you can, like I said, you can do this in the morning when you wake up as well. Now, my preference of this is when you go to sleep. And I tell you why. Because when you go to sleep, those thoughts which are predominant in your mind go into your sleep state. So your unconscious mind is doing more work for you, in other words. Whereas if you do it when you're in the morning, you're not handing over to your unconscious mind. You're still very conscious. So my preference for you is, as you go to sleep, rehearse ultimately how you'd like your day to be. And remember not to rehearse of what you don't want to happen. That doesn't work. We don't want to be silly people like that, do we? I want you to imagine what it would be like if it were to be perfect, if it were to be able to allow your body to get better. I mean, when you think about it, I think healing of the body is about directing your thoughts to health. It's about telling your body how you want your body to be. If it's about relationships, it's about hallucinating, if you're in a present relationship, hallucinating of how you'd like your relationship to be tomorrow. Or maybe about finding the right person. Actually, in your mind, you hallucinate this image of beginning to look at people in a way which gives you what you need, the type of values that you respect in someone. If it's about your business or about your career, you go through throughout your whole day of how you'd like it to go. So you're seeing yourself, despite maybe situations happening in your day at work, where in the past you may have got overwhelmed in stress. This time you go through the same type of situations, but you see yourself in your mind acting and reacting in a way that would be perfect. So that is my tip for you today. So ultimately, take time out for yourself to quieten your mind for a while, preferably just before sleep. And as you quieten your mind, you imagine waking up tomorrow. And as you wake up tomorrow, you can do it right now for a moment, just a very quick one. You wake up tomorrow, and you notice how you'd like to feel. Maybe you'll be feeling, as you think about it now, that real joy and gratitude for being alive. You hallucinate and imagine the type of wonderful energy you feel. How energized and alert that you feel. You imagine the type of thoughts you'll be having, knowing everything, your mind says everything's going to go well today. That you're in top form. That you're in control. And then you go out throughout your morning and just notice how everything works for you. And in relation to any outcomes you're going for, you're seeing yourself making active progress in achieving those outcomes. You're taking inspired action. See yourself going through lunch and even see your body getting healthier and healthier. For some, it might be a higher metabolic rate, so we can actually lose weight maybe. For others, it may well be just feeling energized and abundant in how your body feels, your body feels loose and energized. You go throughout your afternoon being stress-free, feeling confident. Each scenario you go through, each meeting or each action or behavior you do it in a very confident manner. You even begin to train up your mind for every time you get a glimpse of yourself in a mirror. And I did this when I was much younger without even realizing it, when I felt low self-esteem. Every time I looked in a mirror, I said to myself, I love you, or I love me. And you keep on repeating those. Go throughout that whole day exactly how you'd like it to be. Even to when you begin to see yourself go to sleep, see yourself going into that wonderful sleep, even see yourself hallucinating the next day. Now, the more you do this, the more it'll become a repetition in your mind. The more you do this, it'll allow your mind and body begin to get that inner alignment to achieve the type of results that you want. There's something that I do, and I'll always find when I do this, I automatically, sometimes after when I first saw it was very, very quick. For others, it may be just a few days to get into that mindset. But the more you do it, your body biologically, your brain biologically, will allow you to find the answers. allow you to find the type of resources you need to go throughout the day. It's like you're doing the rehearsal for your day. Before, when you think about people doing acting, they do rehearsals, don't they? They just don't do it off the cuff and be absolutely amazing. They're rehearsing quite a few times to do the brilliant performance. So their mind and body knows exactly what's going to happen. They know how they're going to play in this scenario when that person says that line, or when this event happens in the program. They know how to react to it in their facial muscles, in their tonality, in their body posture. They always do rehearsals. If you look at footballers or any athlete for that matter, they're practicing all the time, aren't they? They're practicing of how they want to be able to be, whether it be running, just getting that nice body movement. If it's football, maybe taking free kicks and just seeing it in their mind where they want it to be, and then training up their muscles to be able to go where they want it to be. They're all doing these rehearsals, so why don't we? We've got to be able to do this now as well, and when you do that, then you're sending that deep unconscious signal to find those results that you need. So that's my tip for you to do. Actually do a mental rehearsal every evening and just put a month aside for this. All it's going to be is 5 minutes a day, that's all, which is nothing for the investment that you get back in return of happiness and well-being. There's no money to be spent here. It's just about getting that 5 or maybe 10 minutes if you want to go crazy with it, but at least 5 minutes a day of how you want your life to go that very next 24 hours, and you keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. So that is my tip for you today. I hope you do that and really reap the rewards because of it. And I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon. So have a most wonderful day. Whatever you're doing, be brilliant and realize that you are wonderful in every way, that you are beautiful, you're amazing, that you can be confident, you can resolve any issue because you're pure potential. And I really mean it. I've been there. I've made change in my life. When I do my one-to-one clients, when I do my seminars, I see people make huge breakthroughs. And I'm very thankful to be a part of it. Not to do anything, because I don't. Ultimately, I'm a tour guide, really, just kind of guiding your thoughts and giving you hints and tips. And to me, that's what empowerment is. It's not about me doing anything to you. It's about you beginning to realize your true potential and empowering yourself. So have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Many thanks and goodbye.